Oh, first lane of the day, lovely and overgrown. I know this one pretty well. If it's like that all the way, then yeah, it's gonna be very slow. I've been here on my 950 so many times. I haven't really done the Tenere through here, but there we are. Now I do remember this place pretty well. I reckon that'll make me sweat a little bit. It could be better, I suppose. Whew, I'm sweating already. That's pretty bad fitness from my side. Everything is so overgrown, it's unbelievable. But it is what it is. Whoa! That was a bash plate. Good clank on that one. Well, that's the difference between T7 and my 950 that I had. The more clearance under the bike, so that was always useful here. I never bottomed out in here, but it's something that I gotta get used to. It's one of those things. It's a completely different bike, so it's hard to compare. Bore everyone with a little bit of my 950 to T7 comparison. Right, this bike as it's set up, there's some similarities. I obviously converted my suspension, so it's 48mm forks and a different shock at the back. Suspension is extended, so the travel is 265mm. It performs brilliantly, so it's exactly the same travel as I had on the 950, which was obviously stock to start with, but it was modified later. But I did keep the original rear shock at the back of a 950, so that's one of the main differences. As for the wheels, when I started off, I had the original wheels on a 950, and I got original wheels in here at the moment. Tire setup, it's exactly the same, so I got a Metzler MC360 front and back, medium hard, exactly what I used on a 950 at a certain point as well. So that's probably where the similarities ends, but that's quite important parts. So what I like about this bike, it's easier to ride, and there's a couple of, how to say it best, couple of reasons for it. It's a little bit lighter. I wouldn't say it's dramatically lighter than a 950 was. No, not really, because the weight is quite high, so that's the main difference there. But it's less power, which is less exciting, but it makes it easier to ride. And that suspension is significantly better quality than I had on the 950. The shock makes much difference. It's absolutely amazing. The front works brilliantly. It's all set up together. So suspension wise, yes, it's better. The power, it's easier, so it's easier to ride. From that perspective, yeah, great. You don't get as tired as much unless you get fat like I did, and I get tired even more than I used to on a 950. That's because I was riding more. So that's not really anything to do with the bike, just me being lazy. When we talk about the power on this bike, it's pretty linear. So it's nice and predictable. You can kind of save a lot of close calls much easier. But, and there's always a but, it's not as fun because that grin factor, that danger element, it's not there. So if that's what you're looking for, this is definitely not what you want. let's clarify that. Sure, you can change the sprocket. I got the standard sprocket on the front and the back in here, which I quite like. I think works fine for me, so I'm not really planning to change anything on that front, to be honest. The main, well, it's kind of similar, but maybe not so much. It's much different than my 790 that I used to have, from the perspective that 790 had no bottom end, like nothing. There was nothing going on down there. And on a Tenere, it picks up lovely at the bottom. It tracks nicely, and you don't have to rev it very high to get that movement and get the engine going. It's quite easy from that front, which I prefer, because that's kind of what 950 was. You load a tractor, you can just tractor it in third gear or whatever, depends obviously how quick you're going. And this is very much similar. You can just be at really low revs and you can just tractor it through the things. You don't have to shift down so much as you had on a 790R. And yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm not shitting on a 790, I just didn't like it. It's a very good bike for someone, but it just wasn't for me. It was not close to 950, let's say, for me. I don't know, maybe it's just I was so much used to the 950 that I wanted it back. But yeah, it's 790, it's still a good bike for people. Well, yeah, there is issues with it that I'm not really gonna go into it. People know what it is if you got one, or if you got one you'll quickly find out, but it is what it is. When we talk about maintenance and issues with the bike, obviously I didn't have it long, for a year. I haven't done loads and loads of miles, but everyone knows these are reliable. And all I've done so far, well, except doing a couple of mods, nothing. Absolutely zero things to do, nothing going wrong. Granted, it's a newish bike, it's 21 plate, so it's not like 950 was, 21 years old, which obviously has its own issues. But I invested a lot of money in 950, and still there was always something to do. It's just the nature of the bike, so I cannot grudge. I learned a lot working on 950. I've done a lot of different bikes as of 990s, 950s for friends and colleagues and all that sort of stuff, so I got very familiar with them. And yeah, you get very familiar with them because of the nature of the bike, maintenance stuff and blah blah blah. It's much more, how to say it best, much more involving from that perspective. This is basically just service and ride. That's kind of what I bought it. The main reason for that, for me, what I wanted Tenere and all that sort of stuff, because of the maintenance, ease of maintenance, lack of issues, so to say. I just don't have time. I got hardly time to ride. I run my own business, and it's just, yeah, it's taken over my life a little bit, so I haven't been riding as much as I wanted to. But that's bike to bike, that's a different story. So after a year and a bit, after riding it in Portugal, is this the bike that I'm gonna keep? Well, yes, 100%. I'm keeping that bike. I'm happy with it. I got a couple of little mods to do. Steering dampener, straight through exhaust, rapid bike evo, all that sort of stuff. But nothing crazy. I might at some point do something for roadbook, or I don't know, but at the moment I'm trying to keep away of going crazy with mods like I did on the 950. It's just completely unnecessary. It does what I want it to do. The one thing that I really like and would love to have is the rear tanks for this bike, but they are very pricey. And do I really need them? No, I really don't. It's more of a wish than necessary thing that I necessarily need. I just like the look of them, and the main thing for me, I would like to get more weight at the back and get some weight off the front, so rear tanks would be perfect for that. But at the price tag of like 4 digits, well, I think I'll pass for now. So that's where I am with this bike. I don't really know how else you can compare 950 and a Tenere 700. It's not really much to compare. It's a different bike. It's a light adventure bike, so to say, but it really isn't. It's a smaller capacity adventure bike. Yes, 100%. The difference that I find as well is the position. I find it quite, when you're sitting down, it's quite close to the bars, and it's kind of, yeah, it wasn't great to start with. It took me quite a bit of used to and moving the bars a little bit forward to get the better feel. The high rally seat definitely helps. it's significantly more comfortable. The standard rally seat that I got, it's like sitting on the plank, to be honest. It's nowhere near close in terms of comfort to the 950, 990 on the rally seat. So this one, it's a more of an even comparison, the high one to the 950 rally seat, so to say. In my opinion, they do look good. Maybe there's better looking bikes out there. With the right exhaust, they sound great. But the must for me was the suspension conversion for 48mm and a proper shock at the back. The standard, it's just no good in my opinion for my sort of riding. Sure, there's people out there that are happy with the suspension. Great. Kudos to you, you crack on. Other than that, narrow set of rims if you're gonna do harder off-roading, and I think you sorted. I get myself into fucking hell. Oh well, I gotta persevere, I'm not gonna turn around. Yeah, this is different, alright? That was tight. Very, very tight. Oh, that's interesting. This feels like best career hole on a hard enduro. No way I can ride this one. Fucking hell. Awesome lane, perhaps not for the big bike though. At the moment anyway. I don't want to load the suspension because it's going to get low. There's not really much room in here. Some next level shit. That's pretty bad, I reckon. Holy shit. Chinese pegs are getting a workout. That's for sure. Fuck this one up, didn't you? Dickhead. Come on. Holy mackerel. That was something else. One lane like this can kill your day instantly. That's just so slippery. I'm so worn out after the last lane, I just don't have anything left. Lovely climb. Right. That's gonna be hard work. Could get a middle one, but if I ain't gonna get there. Right one it is. Heavy enduro it is. Should get a little bit of traction here. Or maybe not. I think I'm gonna have to give it some. Stuck. Holy moly.